I have two amazing people here from the company called Mobius. I have the CEO and the founder, Oren, and I also have the vice president of marketing and sales, Eldad. Two amazing people here, and the company is a very, very, very interesting company, very innovative company, and I cannot wait to hear about it. Now, Oren, well, you start. Tell me a little bit about yourself, like a little bit about your background, your history, and how you created this company.
Okay, so I'm coming from a long dynasty of defense industry manufacturing uh, tradition, manufacturing parts for the Israeli tank industry since
Nice.
the early 1960s. And in 2009, we joined forces with two engineers coming from the Israeli Defense Force Tank Design Authority. Two engineers that came to us, and together we tried to find a solution to a problem in which people were sitting inside protected vehicles, armored vehicles, and although the vehicle was armed and was protected from a blast or a mine, still people sitting inside suffered fatal injuries in case of a mine explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And the phenomena was due to the fact that the wave of shock, the wave of energy that goes through the vehicle to the person sitting inside, the occupant of the vehicle, just maybe didn't penetrate the vehicle itself, but definitely created injuries to the people sitting inside. And so we started the company with the vision of being the vision of saving lives in high energy impact scenarios. That was the start, and from there we've developed our spiral technology, which is a kind of a fuse that that separate the vehicle from the seat itself and separate the occupant from the vehicle, and thus helps to save lives. Uh, and Eldad is holding one of those spirals as we speak.
This one.
And this spiral, if you can imagine, like a fuse, trying to make it very simple and not to go into too many details, it will
Sure.
probably will require additional 2 hours of your time and podcast. But
Yeah.
try to simplify it
Yeah.
is you can say that we are slowing the seat in comparison to the vehicle, and we are controlling the movement of the seat. And using this spiral that just showed you, we are absorbing the energy of the blast that goes through the vehicle body, and the energy that is required to elongate the spiral to make a plastic deformation to it is the amount of energy that is being saved from the person sitting inside. This is a
Wow.
very simple way of describing the physics behind it, but definitely it definitely works. We've tested it, thousands of tests of blast tests and drop tests, and it proved itself in battle. And today it has been installed on seats around the globe, different platforms for different users. So
Well,
that's the idea behind the company when we started it. And since then, we've developed this technology to be able to actually not only implement in armored vehicles, but also in other segments such as the automotive, the marine, and the aviation.
wow. Now, can you tell me the spiral, right? Where is it placed exactly? Where do you like what part of the seat is it on? In the bottom?
So it's as I said, you need to slow the seat in comparison to the vehicle. So you need
Mhm.
some kind of a moving mechanism, and the spiral is part of this mechanism. So the seat drops in comparison to the vehicle itself
Mm,
in case of a blast that coming from below, and the spiral is part of that energy absorbing mechanism,
mm.
which is consists of several arms that move during the blast.
That is so interesting. First of all, that I don't know exactly how it works when a blast happens, but I'm assuming the people get hurt by shrapnel, but also by what's going on in the vehicle. The vehicle's you're moving in the vehicle, you can get really hurt. So like making sure that you don't get thrown around is probably one of the biggest factors.
So you're correct, but there's few factors that you need to take into consideration. One, we are talking about armored vehicles, which means that the blast doesn't penetrate the vehicle.
Hmm.
It has unique geometry. It has unique armor around it that prevent the blast from penetrating the vehicle itself, as well as a blast floor that also protects the occupant's legs. And so the problem of shrapnels doesn't exist, but
Hmm.
you have to be strapped to the seat. Of course, when you are driving in a combat situation, you are strapped to the seat. And the seat itself, as I've mentioned before, is acting like a protecting unit instead of just a seat. Now it's
Hmm.
becoming a protecting unit because we are separating it from the vehicle itself by our spiral.
Understood. So this is really a key part to it. Interesting. Now,
So the
when
spiral is the key element. The spiral is the only element that absorbs energy as a single element. So it always functions the same way. It is not in there's no influence of the environment, rust, dust, mud, or anything else, and it gives you the same result every time.
wow. Now, when did this company come about? Like, when did you create this technology?
So we started. This is the idea that it was only a thought in the beginning, in 2009, and this is when we formed the company and started developing this spiral, and made a lot of tests around it. We started with analysis, then tests, and what is unique about it is, and the knowledge that we have today in the company is a huge database of different shock waves and different threats on the vehicle. So we know exactly uh, what type of spiral to, and which material, what is the length, what are the number of rounds, anything that needs to be precisely adapted to the certain threat that we are facing. And it allows us also to provide
Thank you.
defense for starting from the 5 percentile female to the 95 percentile male to the whole range of occupants of the vehicle.
Wow. So it's pretty new company. It's 2009,
Yeah.
about 13 years old. And when did you guys start? So you probably were developing it for a while. When did you guys start actually testing it, actually putting it? You said it's in tanks at the moment, right? When did that
Yeah,
happen?
it's installed in a lot of platforms around the world. Pretty soon, once we started, we understood that we can solve the issue of energy absorbing. Immediately, we understood that it's not enough to absorb energy. We also need to make the whole mechanism around it. This is when we started manufacturing or designing and developing our own seats. And those seats, pretty soon, we understood that each platform that we are trying to provide a solution, each platform represents a different challenge in terms of the mechanism that
Right.
is required from the seat, in terms of space claim, weight requirements, etc. So we developed, I think today we are over 100 different type of seats that answers different requirements. And we've built the company around the idea that we want to solve customers' problems or provide solutions to the customer, not to provide off-the-shelf product. So we have a very flexible, very agile engineering department, flexible engineers, which sounds
Yeah.
like an oxymoron, but this is what we have in Israel. Flexible engineering thing, but you also need to have the whole DNA of the company to be built around the idea or the notion that you are a solution provider. Not you need to have a very strong logistic department that can provide solutions in a short period of time. You
Right.
have to have a very robust supply chain, and you have to have the DNA of the company around this understanding. This, I think, what brought us to the success we have today with the different platforms we are working with around the world.
I mean, just on this picture I see here, thank you, Eldad. You're in many, many, many vehicles. Even it looks like something in the ocean. I'm not sure what that is.
Amphibious
Amphibious.
vehicle. Yeah.
I mean, just to put your system into one type of vehicle, it takes a lot of time. But to get them into the different countries, different types of vehicles, that is pretty amazing because I mean, we all know that. I mean, the military space, they're very strict. They need everything needs to be great. Not great, it has to be 100% or else they don't want it.
Yeah,
So,
so
wow.
one of the obstacles that we are facing, and one of the characteristic of the defense industry is that the long cycle time. from the point where you start designing a seat to the actual supply of the seat. There's a long cycle time, which requires from our side to have pipeline of repeated of different programs all the time. So we will be able to, of course, generate business during around the year. Luckily, we've managed to become the chosen supplier, or the chosen solution for the Israeli Defense Force, as well as we're working very strong with different platform manufacturers, starting from Australia through the North America, Europe, and the Near East. So we are quite spread around different platforms today.
That's amazing. It's a very short time to get into so many different countries and different vehicles. That's really amazing.
Well,
Now,
there is a need for it. You have to understand that many platforms, starting when we started, most of the more unique platforms required energy absorbing solution, or the top-notch platforms. Today, it's almost an entry level requirement. So we are supporting this segment as well with entry level seats. Less complicated the mechanism, less complicated ergonomic, but we are not compromising on the energy absorbing solution. So each of our seat has the same energy absorbing or the same protection for the occupant as the rest of the seats.
now in these vehicles, do you provide the entire seat or just the specific piece that you showed me that goes with the seat?
So yeah, we provide the complete seat. We provide
Wow.
the set of seats for each vehicle, because each of the different locations in the vehicle requires a different seat and different mechanism. For example, a driver's seat may requires back and forth, up and down adjustments, emergency release. Same with the commander seat. Occupant seat may require different seats. So yeah, we are offering a set of seats for the different locations within the vehicle. And many times it is based on the requirement of the specific requirements the customer is asking us. As I mentioned before, many times the space claim is really limited, and we have to adjust the mechanism or the requirement for the different mechanism of the seat to fit in the specific or a very limited space claim.
So you're going, each country, each vehicle that you go to is like a brand new system. Not brand new system, but you have to create something, make sure that it fits perfectly for that vehicle. There's no messing up here. So
yeah.
So each vehicle is its own project, and it looks like you have, wow. I don't know. Do you have what's the team like? Do you have a massive team? Like, tell me about like just the company itself, because this seems like it's amazing, but it seems like so much work. I mean, we know.
It is a lot of work. It's as I said, I'm not sure if you got it when I've talked about the culture of the company, but it requires a unique DNA. It's a can-do attitude. And we do have a lot of projects that we are involved in. As I've mentioned, we've created more than 100 different type of seats for different vehicles. But because we have such a vast experience in that today, and we know exactly what type of elements we can take from, it's like a cherry picking from different models that we've made before to fit into the requirement of a new customer. Gotcha. And to answer your question, besides the unique DNA, besides the can-do attitude, you really need a very strong engineering, which is led by our CTO, one of the co-founders of the company, now CTO Anan. And yeah, I think they are very unique engineers. The Israeli know-how.
It's incredible. Just seeing this. Listen. If you guys got into just the Israeli market, that's nice. But you guys are international. That means that I would think that you guys are one of the best or the best at what you do, because people can choose from wherever they want. They don't have. They can go wherever they want. So that's.
Let me amaze you a little bit more about what we do, because once we knew that we know how to absorb energy, and we consider ourselves today as an expert in energy and absorbing energy in different scenarios, we looked around and we said, okay, what other market segments can we adapt our technology to? And taking into consideration that the defense industry has its limitations, as I mentioned, long cycle times, etc., we looked at the other industries. One of them, of course, is the automotive, where you can simulate. I mean, you can think about an accident similar to a blast of a mine blast. It's a similar energy, maybe longer cycle, but a lower amount of energy, but longer cycle of energy in an accident in comparison to a blast. But in the end result, it's the same amount of energy. So we looked around and we said, okay, in the automotive industry, one of the segments that hasn't been touched for many years is the baby car seats.
Correct.
And the safety seats for babies in cars are the same technology since they've been introduced in the late 80s. No real change since then. And we thought, okay, we can do that. We can do much better than that. So we started working on that direction, and we've created our own brand, which is called Baby Arc. And we could only try to cooperate with some manufacturer of seats and try to supply only the energy absorbing element. But we said, okay, we want to really make a scratch on the world and create something of our own that really makes a difference and really save lives. And this is why we went the whole story of creating the seat from beginning. And today we are introducing to the market in the United States. Actually, this is where we are launching. Early next year, we are going to launch our brand, and it's going to be the safest baby car seat in the world. Not only the safest, but also a smart seat that has also an application that tells you if the seat was installed correctly, if the baby is sitting on the seat. Many features within this seat. So that's based on the same spiral.
We get to see here the brand. It didn't even come to market. It's gonna be a safer seat because if it's the military vehicles absorbing mines, I think guys can make it. That's amazing. Wow. That's gonna be so next year you guys are you launching a whole new brand, just directed at the baby seat market, which you're right. I mean, they look the same. Like the baby seats never change. They look the same for the past 30 years.
So this baby seat, first, this I have to say that it is led today by also a co-founder of the company, Shai, who is leading now. He was the business in charge of the business development of Mobius, and now he's managing this company that is called Babya. It's a sister company of Mobius, based on the same technology as I mentioned. We've split the company beginning of this year, and as I've mentioned, it's going to go into the market. The design of the seat is also unique. It's designed by one of the leading car designer in the world today, Frank Stephenson, who really liked the idea or the idea behind the seat, but also what it delivers. Frank is one of the greatest designers of cars living today. He designed the Mini Cooper. He was head designer of Ferrari and McLaren, and today as an independent design studio, he took upon himself to design the Baby Arc seat. And as I've mentioned, I believe it's going to be a very interesting, disruptive seat in the market.
I think so
I hope
too.
it will work. So
you have the safety. Also, you have the guy who created Ferraris creating the seat. I mean, that's an amazing combination. It's gonna be it's the top of the line. It's the top.
It is the top of the line. Yeah, it represents a line of its own or a niche of its own in the baby seats. It can tell you a lot about the fact that the seat, as I mentioned, you have an handheld in your mobile phone. You will have an application that will tell you if the baby is sitting on the seat. For example, if the grandmother is picking the baby from the kindergarten, then you will get information about this from on your iPhone. I'm sorry, and if the seat is installed correctly, which by the way is the major cause of accidents, the fact that people don't know how to install the seat correctly, and this seat is a self-explanatory way of installing it. we actually tested it on grandmothers here. Never touched it, and the pitch was they need to install it without any instruction in less than a minute. So I think we achieved we
Wow,
achieved it, and it's right there.
that's amazing. I also see, I see, I see on this page, I see the marine. So you create it for well, it says motorboats. Tell me about that. Is that also just military
So
motorboats?
so we looked at the marine market as well. There is a lot of energy in the marine area, especially in speedboats and in mine collecting boats, where they are exposed to could be exposed to blasts. So we created some seats developed according to specific requirements from customers, seats that meet different locations within the boat, using the same technology. We just decided that we are not going any further in that market at the moment, although there's a lot of potential there, because we want to focus in more maybe promising market segments,
Yeah.
such as the aviation one, for example.
Tell me
Which
about
means
that. Yeah. Tell me about the aviation.
so the aviation, specifically the what is called urban air mobility or advanced air mobility, is actually a new ecosystem that is now gaining a lot of potential and gaining a lot of attention from in the world. The whole idea is trying to overcome the traffic problems in condensed cities and condensed locations. And one of the solutions for that, or the main direction these solutions are going, is what is called eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing systems, or in a more simple way, a flying Uber. So you will have a flying taxi that will come and like the like in the movies.
Yeah.
You will have a taxi that will land next to you and will take you to your location.
Interesting. Yeah. I
It's a new ecosystem. Yeah.
we've had a company, Urban Aero. They created. I don't know
Yeah.
when they're flying, but they created this what you just said. There's many companies that do that.
So
So
there's there are about 600 different projects in the world today,
yeah,
trying to create the next urban air mobility solution, or the eVTOL solution. Out of these 600, probably there will be only few that will reach the target.
correct.
But those that will reach the target definitely are going to change the way we look at the air transportation today. The market, as I said, it's a all new ecosystem. It's probably not going to solve all the traffic problems. It will be maybe exaggerating to think that you can solve traffic problems. You'll need millions of vehicles like that, but it definitely can contribute to reduce the time it takes you to go from downtown Manhattan to JFK or locations like that dramatically. And it looks like in the last 2 years, the whole stars in the sky aligned on the same line, and things are happening into this industry. There's all the stakeholders that are involved in this market are taking part, made a huge progress. There's a lot of manufacturers, starting from Boeing, Airbus, Embraer, and the airliners themselves are involved in this and finding it as a solution for the last mile. That they are looking for a solution for the last mile to reach to the airport. So they are also investing into it. There's a lot of public money that invested in manufacturers, different platform manufacturers, and also the FAA is also contributing in trying to set the right set of regulations, not only to the aircraft itself, but the way you handle it in the urban area. So it all pointing to the point that maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but 2025 and on, you will start see vehicles like that, and it's going to be something that people will say, how did we live without it before? Like your iPhone, maybe.
Right.
In the 2030, it's going to be definitely a breakthrough.
So you guys, so you're I guess you're in talks or with companies in this space because I do agree with you. I believe that everything always has to get better. It's always better, and this is the next step in regards to, I mean, just being in urban environments. People, People who have money or people that doesn't matter, but people want to get around quicker. No one wants to be stuck in traffic. So it will definitely happen. So that's
So
very cool.
the challenge is to make it as available
Right.
as a simple taxi drive. What is unique about the eVTOL and what makes it really appealing is that the cost of operation are not that high, and this is unique to the fact because of the fact that you have batteries and the manufacturing cost of the vehicle are not going to be as high as a helicopter, for example. The
Right.
fuselage probably will be the same cost as to manufacture a helicopter, but the engines are going to be off-the-shelf products, and it's going to have a very low noise signature. So also it will make it appealing to
Right.
urban environment. And the most important, I think, it's going to be much safer than helicopter because you are using
Yeah.
usually
The
8 or
wings.
12 areas of rotors. You can walk without one, two. You can still fly, so it's going to be safer. Our part of it is, of course, creating the seats to crash-worthy seats for this industry. We have a very unique value proposition for this market. First of all, we know how to absorb the energy according to the requirements. They are not still the specifications are not set yet. They are now under
Yeah.
discussions, but they are probably going to represent requirements for both rotary wing and fixed wing vehicles or aircrafts. So you need to have a very robust seat to be able
Uh,
to absorb energy in case of a fixed wing crash. And you also have to have an energy absorbing mechanism to absorb energy in case of a rotor wing crash, vertical crash. So our solution, our unique spiral allows us to do that in a very limited space, and all those vehicles going to have a very limited space because you want to save weight to allow a distance to allow high distance. So you need to be able to absorb the energy in a very low space claim. You need to be able to do that for the 5 percentile female to the 25 percentile male. So you need to have the whole range. This is unique characteristic of our spiral.
where's the factory? Where do you guys create everything? What's where in Israel or is it where is it created everything?
So this the TFP technology and the out of auto club high pressure RTM manufacturing technology is a German technology.
Mhm.
We are cooperating with a very sophisticated and state-of-the-art facility there, who designed or actually created this technology. And we are assembling the seats in Israel. We have in our facility assembly location, and we also work with subcontractors who are part of our supply chain, our partners actually here in Israel, where we assemble our seats.
Amazing. And they're all what city is it in? Like you're all creating, you have a big factory just creating seats for tons of different vehicles, right? So you have like
So we our philosophy is trying to avoid manufacturing on our own
mm,
technology. So we are relying on subcontractors. We are doing assembly here in our facility in industrial park in Modi'in, which is next to Shoam,
mhm.
where we're doing only the unique installations of the really sophisticated, more complicated seats. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that the philosophy is not to rely on our own
Right.
manufacturing capabilities. So we are working very closely with our subcontractors. We consider them as our partners
Gotcha.
to the end result. And we do here in Shoam, we are doing the final assembly of our more complicated products.
Right. Wow. We're almost out of time, but you this company that you founded, co-founded is I've never heard of anything like this. This is I mean, first of all, you guys don't stop. You're in everything, every country, every field, whatever anything that's new coming out with the seat, you're gonna be in it too. So it's amazing. And just to see also you guys, it really I believe that I mean we know it's true, it saves lives So besides for making money, hopefully, you're also you're saving lives. You're putting the best technology into everything so that people can have the best opportunity, to survive anything. So I'm I'm blown away. I'm so happy you guys came on. Thank you, Oran. Thank you, Eldad.
Thank you.
I can't
Welcome.
wait. Thank you thank you for putting everything up. It was very good seeing everything.
Ciao, thank you very much for your time. As I told you before during our conversation, it's not only about making money. We want
No,
really want to leave a bend or a scratch in the wall and make something
exactly.
that really means something. So
Yeah,
that's important to everyone working in Mobius to really to bring meaning to our
correct.
what we do.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, and hopefully we're going to see you guys in the future with more technologies, more vehicles, and I can't wait.